Hello, everyone. My name is Summer Burton, and I'm pleased to welcome you to today's presentation about the new learning activities that have been developed for the local Jobs Hub platform in the Elgin, Middlesex, and Oxford regions of Ontario. We're thrilled that you are joining us today. You have representatives from employment, workforce development boards, literacy networks from all across the province, including York, Peel, Niagara, Simcoe Muskoka, Bruce Grey. It's a great crowd, so thanks for coming today. We hope you find the presentation valuable. Before we begin, I'd like to point out that the GoToWebinar toolbar at the side of your screen has a section called Handouts. A copy of today's presentation is available for you there, along with the entire package of activities that we're going to be talking about today. You'll also see a chat field that you're welcome to use. I will not really be able to look and respond to it during the presentation, but I'll check it at the end. So I'm with you today on behalf of Literacy Link South Central, which is the regional literacy network that supports Elgin, Middlesex, Oxford, Brant, Haldimand, and Norfolk counties. We work with programs across those 6 counties to facilitate service planning, develop curriculum, do research, provide training, and support adult literacy programs in pretty much any way we can. Wherever you are in the province, there's also a regional literacy support network available to help you. To find your local network, please visit Learning Networks of Ontario using the link on your screen. Over the past several years, we've worked closely with our partners at the Workforce Planning Board of Elgin, Middlesex, and Oxford on projects like the former Local Employment Planning Council, bringing adult literacy learners and job seekers accessible labor market information and tools to help them reach their goals. When the Planning Board launched the Local Jobs Hub tool in the London Economic Region, we saw it as a great opportunity. As most of you know, this suite of tools is incredibly valuable and can be an excellent resource for job seekers to not only see job postings, but to find resources and support their journey to employment and get information to plan longer-term career goals. Given that this resource has a lot to offer, we wanted to help people understand how to use it effectively, and we know that in your areas, you want the same thing. To that end, we've developed a set of activities that can be used by students and job seekers to learn how to effectively navigate the platform. There are 20 activities in total, and each of them includes step-by-step instructions, screenshots of some of the buttons, images and links that are embedded in the tools, fill-in-the-blank exercises, and an answer key for teachers, job coaches, and facilitators to use to confirm the results of the activities. As you may be able to tell looking at the sample activity on your screen, they've been written in plain, clear language that should be understandable by the majority of job seekers at a variety of literacy levels, making them accessible to use in both literacy and employment-based programs. So what you'll see on the screen now is the first of the 20 activities, and it's focused very specifically on the regional job listings section of the board. Recognizing that the London, oops, sorry, give me 1 second, I apologize. There we go. The focus of the activities includes accessing and searching through the regional job listings, using the interactive map to look for jobs and local resources like child care centers and bus routes in the map, navigating the Career Explorer and seeing how different careers are connected to one another, understanding the frequently asked questions for this tool, using both the workforce development and, in our area, the worktrends.ca website, understanding the job demand and job search reports, which I know many of you have access to as well, census reports, and Outlook reports. Also utilizing knock codes to search for specific jobs, and a lot more. While 15 of the activities focus on one area each, the learning offered through this activity package culminates really in the final 5 activities, because they lead job seekers across multiple sections of the Workforce Development website, the Local Jobs Hub, worktrends.ca, some government websites, using Google to do some effective searching, looking up definitions of words that they may not know, and so on and so forth. So those final 5, I would almost call them culminating tasks, are the ones that really should be run at the end once people have a much firmer understanding of how the tools work. However, several of them can be completed with no prior experience with the local Jobs Hub tools or how they work. And again, those final 5 really best completed after some foundational knowledge is in place. So one of the things we've done is put a suggested prerequisites page near the front. So as you're going through the activities, you want to take a look and see which ones can be launched right off the bat versus which ones might be better to have some additional information before somebody tries to navigate through them. Now, recognizing that the London Economic Region is not the only one using this platform, we wanted to both share the activities with you and offer you the opportunity to use them as the basis for a set of activities based on your own local platforms. As I mentioned earlier, the PDF version of these activities has been included in the handouts section of the GoToWebinar toolbar for you. I welcome you to download a copy for you to review. If what you would like is an editable Word copy, then I'm going to ask if you please just contact me using the email address on the screen. We are going to be tracking which areas have taken this particular resource and are looking to modify it to suit their own individual job searching and career exploring platform. If you do, in fact, edit them to reflect your local platform, feel free to pop your own logo on there, obviously replace the screenshots. We would ask that you use the acknowledgements page to credit Literacy Link South Central for the creation of the original activities and to acknowledge the Ministry of Labour Training and Skills Development as our funder. We would also request that the material not be sold or offered to other clients for a fee. So I'm hoping that everybody's had the opportunity to download the activities from your toolbar. It will not be a short download, so you may want to get started on it now. It is well over 200 pages of activities and screenshots and answer keys, so there's a lot to look at there. As you have the opportunity to download them and look at them, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at our chat and see if we have any questions. I'm happy to address questions verbally as well. If you would like to unmute yourself, you're more than welcome to. And I'll take a look at your questions in the chat. Which there are none right now. So if you do have any questions, I welcome you to pop them in there. So I have a great question. Will there be any future training for LBS providers who use this tool? I would be very happy to connect you with our partners at the Workforce Planning Board of Elgin, Middlesex, and Oxford, who have been doing some fabulous training sessions to let people know how to use the tool so that they can hopefully provide an overview of how it's used. I'd also say that, you know, one of the great things about this particular training package is that it gives us the opportunity to learn how to use the tool itself. So I also welcome any of our LBS providers to actually try out some of the activities. It would give them some good context for doing the actual activities with their learners, as well as teach them a bit themselves about how to use the tool. So if you have any other questions, I certainly welcome them. Okay, well, we knew this would be a fairly quick, oh, wonderful. Thank you, Justin. So if time permits, is it worth showing us an example activity? I'd be happy to do it. Give me just a couple of minutes because I will need to minimize this and pull the activities up, so it'll just be a moment. I can absolutely do that. Is it done homework style is the other question from Justin. So it does not have to be done in person. It is definitely the type of activity that is very much fill in the blank style. So anyone who's going through the activities and filling them out could do it remotely within their own home as long as they have internet access and then bring it back. They could also sit in a classroom or a workshop and work at a computer there in order to work their way through the tool. All of the information that they would be looking at is based online in the local job sub tools. So they would need to have access to the internet regardless of where they chose to do those activities. Would I say that the edits required would be extensive? That's from Janine. So I've taken some time to go through several different versions of this tool. And what's really great about it, and if you take a look at your screen, you're going to kind of see this, the look of the tool. And I think the Career Explorer is probably the easiest one for you to look at. The Career Explorer is exactly the same in every section. The jobs map works exactly the same in every section. The jobs board works the same. So where you'll notice differences is in the content, depending on the area that this particular board exists in. And of course, the screenshots, because several of the individual workforce planning boards or organizations that run these tools have customized them to reflect the look of their own website. So there will be a couple of differences. What I would suggest for other organizations that would wish to modify this to reflect their local jobs board is to make sure that it is using the same platform. If you can see the Career Explorer and the map with the bubbles that has the toolbar down the right-hand side that lets you add bus routes and things like that, and I know most of the regions in the West have it, then you're good to go. You may need to swap out screenshots. You definitely would want to search for the name of the Workforce Planning Board and change it out to reflect the Workforce Planning Board's name in that area. The name of the tool is also sometimes a little bit different. So a little bit of edits that way, but in terms of how the actual program works, no. What you also may find is that you won't want to use the entire 20 package of 20 because we do have a couple of tools here that are a little bit different than in other areas. So I'm thinking worktrends.ca. The landing page where someone in the London, Elgin, and Oxford region pulls up the job board or the map has different things on it here in the London, Elgin, Oxford region than it necessarily would in some others. So you may want to skip those sections, but that's the nice thing about offering this up for editing so that it's usable in all areas. We welcome you to make it work for you. Okay. Do your staff review the completed activities done by clients, or is that not really necessary? That's from Justin. Justin, there's an answer key provided for every one of the activities. I would recommend, in terms of understanding whether or not the person who's doing these activities is getting it, if they're navigating successfully, if they're having difficulty finding certain things, that it's a good idea to go over some of these answers with them. Several of them as well are opinion. So there may be things that we've asked, well, there are things that we've asked. For example, tell us a job that you might be interested in. What are 3 words that you would associate with this job? The answer will be different for every person, but it's a great opportunity for the person facilitating something like this to learn more about their client and the way they think. So I think there's some embedded benefit in going over the answers. Does it stop the person from moving on if you don't? No, it doesn't. But I'm a big believer in double checking understanding and what that can do for somebody leading a session with someone. Great questions, guys. I'm just going to keep my eye on the chat for another second. I believe that I've gotten through your questions, but please do keep sending them in, and I will grab the activities while we're doing it. Okay, so what you should see on your screen now is the cover page of these local job hub activities. I grabbed them right out of my own handout section, so this is exactly what you have. You may have seen at the top, there's 250 pages. So as I said, not exactly the shortest document in the whole wide world. Once we get past the contents section, which will tell you exactly what the focus is of each and every one of the different activities in here. So you can see that the first couple are the job listings themselves, then we go into the map, and then we get into the Career Explorer, and then you start getting a little bit deeper. So those first, I would say about 6 or 7, are very much the foundational things that people would want to learn. And then we start going off into things like frequently asked questions, navigating some additional websites and reports, census information. And I know from looking at a lot of the different platforms that are using this particular tool that most of you have the census information accessible as well. Job search reports, I've seen that on many of the sites as well. Number 13, you may not find as useful in other areas. It's the worktrends.ca website. You may have something, however, very similar in your own area that you'd be able to swap out. And then we get into knock codes. That's all obviously across Ontario, so there's nothing different that you'd have to do with that one. And then those last 5, where now we're starting to look up some information in the regional jobs listing and then leave that section and find something about the same job using the regional jobs map. Starting with the regional jobs map and then cross-referencing with the Career Explorer. Starting with the Career Explorer, cross-referencing with Outlook reports. Looking across many different areas with number 19. And then number 20 is entirely up to the learner to go through all of these sections of the report and see, or sorry, of the site and see what they can learn from each area, given what their own individual interests are in a career. Little acknowledgements page. This is what I showed you in one of the screenshots, which was the prerequisites. We also have included a definitions section, and this is really to try and respect the literacy level of some of the folks that may be taking these activities and running with them. If they don't necessarily know what certain menu or certain words mean, we didn't want to make it more difficult for them to understand. So there's a little glossary there for them. And then we get into the actual activities themselves. So each activity has a task number at the side. So if you have somebody that you're not going to be with for very long, you could easily assign them just tasks 1, 2, 3, and 4, especially of one of the more complex ones. This is quite straightforward because it's the original, here's going and looking at this tool for the very first time. Especially near the beginning, we've included screenshots of the buttons that some of the learners would need to be able to find. And again, when I talked about what you might need to customize, some of these will be exactly the same and would not need to be touched at all. A couple of them may look a little bit different. So as you can see, most of them are fill in the blank style, answering questions, sort of short essay style, along with the instructions to tell people what to do. And then we come over to the answer key. So every one of these individual activities has their own answer key with the task numbers listed next to it. So if you were only assigning a couple of tasks out of one activity to a learner, you're more than welcome to just skip to that section to double check. And several times you'll also see this, the number will change depending on the date and time of the search, because obviously not only here in the London, Middlesex, and Elgin and Oxford area do we have that number changing fairly frequently as jobs come and go, but in everyone's individual area that will constantly change. So sometimes there is no right answer. It's a matter of exactly what's happening live on the site that day. So it goes on for quite a while. I hope that that gives you a good sort of example of what each of these activities looks like. If you'd like to see a specific activity or about a specific part of the platform, please feel free to pop that in the chat box. I'd love to hear it. Otherwise, I'm happy to answer questions, and we'll look forward to hearing hearing from you if you'd like a Word version of this curriculum. So I'm just going to take a second to check our chat. Okay, with nothing in there right now. Oh, here we go. Are you planning to print these booklets and provide them to clients, or are you giving out each activity as a digital PDF? That's from Justin. Great question, Justin. I would not print the entire thing because it's huge, and I believe that it would also be kind of overwhelming for most clients. Not to mention the fact that, as you just saw, it goes activity 1, answer key 1, activity 2, answer key 2, and you don't want to be giving the answer keys to the learner. What I would likely do is print out a number of specific activities for the client based on what you want to teach them or what they need to learn. So I might print just the pages of this larger PDF with activities 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 and hand those out, and then double check their answers using the PDF on my screen when I'm actually taking the lesson up. You could potentially, if you wanted to, even project this on an overhead if you were doing an in-person session with people, and not print anything at all, because we know that at this point we're having some challenges with whether we're doing things in person or online or a creative combination of both. So that is certainly an option as well. Great questions, everyone. Any others that you'd like to throw out there? Okay, I will keep my eye on the chat and just bring this back up real quick to remind you that if you would like to get a hold of me and talk with me about these activities, I absolutely welcome you to do that. My email address is very simple. It's summer@llsc.on.ca. Feel free to reach out even if you don't want a copy of the PDF version of these activities. You're welcome to just join in and ask some questions, kind of hear a little bit about the development process. I'm more than happy to answer questions about it. So if we have no more questions, I'm going to say that was a nice quick session. I had scheduled it for half an hour just in case we had a huge big Q&A at the end, but I do believe that we are ready to wrap up. I thank you all for attending today and ask you to please feel free to reach out whenever you'd like. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks, everyone. I appreciate your thank yous in the chat as well.